I'm really glad that there is far more awareness these days around trauma and spiritual awakening and also the embodiment of that. And I see a lot of people offering healing work, which is, of course, so important, as well as people teaching all sorts of spiritual wisdom, which is also wonderful. And I noticed that unless a person has really solid experience and training, you cannot guide another through healing the trauma. And some of the spiritual teaching, and I've worked in this field for 30 years as a psychologist and a spiritual teacher myself, and learned a lot before I started actually working with people and teaching, because some of it can actually lead to further traumatization. Certain teachings, for example, the path of transcendence, the path of like even using affirmations to change your emotions and then try to believe something, but underneath a wound is still festering. So what I've seen is like the wound really needs to be met, and you can't just cut a person open. There's a way how to meet trauma that requires presence, that requires love, but it also requires a lot of skill. And often spiritual awakening and trauma arising are bedfellows. They come together, and sometimes it's difficult to know which one is it now. Is it like a wonderful blissful experience that takes you beyond of who you think you are, or is it just the disassociation that happens with trauma by, it's called checking out. Yeah. So I had a client of mine, a student, who was just, she came to me in the beginning and she was really full of anxiety, even though she had been practicing spirituality for 20 years and has been with pretty famous people. And yet her anxiety, she said, it's gotten worse and worse over the years. And I realized that she's been using the spiritual bypass road and not addressing the pain that was waiting for her underneath and the terror. So the more we become waken up, the more also the shadow, that what is held in our dungeons, must arise. It's the nature of the path, only so that everything can be taken home, only so that we can, by meeting the deeper trauma, that something opens up and a gift is revealed, a strength that you didn't know you had when you walk through it. But we do need someone else to hold our hand through, or we need a group that supports us. And I would say, unless don't guide people unless you really have developed the skill and the capacity as well as the experience. And that's why I love training people, so we can create, yeah, a real, not just a better world, but a world where we heal and wake up and thrive together.